Hello and welcome to India Career Center, the one-stop podcast for students, professionals, parents and guardians. In every episode, we will try to deal with a current topic that needs expert advice related to career guidance and career mentoring. Please welcome your host, Dr. S.P. Mishra to the show and happy listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode on India Career Center. Today I'm happy to welcome Mr. Muthusekkar, the Chief Executive Officer from Hailstone, a very renowned company based out of South India. They are basically into construction equipment, specifically related to crushers segment. So we will, through this conversation, we will try to understand more about what are their growth plans in terms of the medium term growth plans, so that based on that we will also understand what would be the requirement of recruitment which will be happening in the medium term, which is 2 to 4 years, and what are the other requirements with respect to skill, knowledge, and so on and so forth, so that young people who are watching this, or their parents who are watching this conversation, will get a sense of what is expected out of them, and hence they can prepare themselves better for the future. So with those words, I welcome Mr. Muthusekkar once again to the show. Thank you so much for taking out time and joining us for the conversation, Mr. Muthusekkar.
Thank you, Dr. Mishra, and India Career Center, I think, which is a very, very important, for shaping for the youngsters, particularly whoever is, ready to go for job. And we have millions and millions of, India has the largest youth population. And of course, in the youth population, there is 50% of women. I think the diversity point also needs to be addressed and looked into it. And this is a very good initiative. And I would be very happy to share my thoughts, personal, as well as our organization goals, and how is the industry doing, and then how is the career, planning can be done for the youngsters in this particular industry.
Fantastic. So to start our conversation, kindly give us a brief about Hailstone and a broad contours about the industry, so that we get a sense of what is this industry all about.
Yeah, hailstone. Hailstone means you are hailing, you are saluting the stone. So that's the meaning, because stone is our business. So that's the name renounce for Hailstone. And we are a company based out from Thrissur and from Palakkad in Kerala, completely in deep south. Our company is a 30-year-old company. We have been into focusing primarily in the crushing, screening, washing, mining solutions. So we have a end-to-end product. So we talk of primary. The primary is one which breaks the big rocks or the big iron ore or whatever the mineral ores, the large sizes, lumps, which is broken. And there is a secondary crusher, which is, basically brings into certain sizes. Like, for example, a railway, needs a little larger stone. For a road foundation, you need a larger stone. Larger stone means I'm talking of a 45 mm, 60 mm kind of a size stone. Then when you go for the next layer, you need a 20 mm. Then you need a 10 mm stone. Then you need the dust. The way the buildings and the infrastructure and urbanization happening, plus the kind of infrastructure goals what the country has. We have even Guinness record breaking of making road. So that's the development which is happening in the country. When such developments are happening, it has to commensurate with the raw materials. So raw materials is basically the stones and the other graded sizes, and then the M sand and P sand. And so M sand means it is a manufactured sand, which will be slightly coarse, 4.5 mm. That's the size. And P sand is called a plaster sand, which is below 2.75 mm. So that's a very fine sand which is used for the plastering. So at the end of the day, these products are very much, important for the growth of the nation. So if more industries have to come, more roads have to come, quicker deliveries or quicker transport has to happen, perishable goods have to move from one place to another place, marketplace. So all that can happen only when there is a good roads, good infrastructure available. So this becomes a backbone of the nation. That is the way I say. And very passionately, myself and my team members in Hailstone always tell that we build the nation. So we are very proud. Passion is very important in any kind of business, especially for the youngsters. Today they work for 2 years in a company, they move from one company to another company. So, okay, you can move, doesn't matter, but the passion, even within the 2 year period, how much you can deliver, how much you can quickly learn. I think these are all very important. And coming back to the Hailstone, we are a player, known in the market for producing quality equipments from the primary, secondary, tertiary, tail end, including the waste slurry management and water saving, eco-friendly. And we have mobile solutions. We have hybrid solutions which can run on dual power. So that's the complete range of product basket what Hailstone has. And we also offer these products across the globe. It is not just in India. We have been, exporting to Russia, exporting to Bolivia, Mexico, Middle East, Africa. Many of the countries we do the exports. So that's a short about Hailstone. And we have total 4 plants. So 3 plants are at Thrissur, which is the mother plant, feeding plant, and the very large infrastructure of about close to around 200,000 square feet area, a very nice infrastructure with a conveyor line assembly. Normally, you don't find a conveyor line assembly for such equipments. You hear this only in an automotive. You hear this only in a large plants. But for a construction industry, this is very unique.
Okay. Could you also give a sense of the overall crushing screening industry for India?
Yeah, overall crushing screening industry is approximately close to $1 billion, 8,000, 9,000 crores of market. This includes the complete range of products. What I'm talking, it is not just only the crushing and screening. It goes into washing, it goes into other, and it is not only for the stone. It is also for the iron ore. Any product, even gold, needs to be crushed. Gold needs to be, people think only stone is being crushed. There is a limestone, there is gypsum, there is, your dolomite, many kind of iron ore, many kind of minerals, or even slag recovery, your waste, like, the waste in the municipality waste, which needs to be crushed, which needs to be screened for, removing the plastics, removing the debris, or, the construction demolition waste. Bada building ko gira raha hai, then the entire building cannot be put as a waste. Of course, today the concept is reuse and recycle. This is a famous slogans today, but we have to live with it. That's the need of the hour, and for the global carbon footprints, you need to use the materials which can be recrushed, which can be separated. Iron particles or metal particles can be taken out, and this can be used.
Fantastic. So moving on, obviously, you are definitely planning for some growth in the next 5-7 years. The key would be, one of the key ingredient is the manpower. So on that, can you give us some sense of how you're planning that? It obviously it could be entry level people, it could be lateral people, it could be contractual. So can you give some sense of what is your plan for the medium term? Could be
Yeah. Today
say 2
today
to 4
Hailstone
years.
is on 350 people running the organization. So people is our strength, right? You rightly put it. whether it's a junior employee or whether it is a senior employee or who is, very fresh graduates, but all of them add, I always, take a Tamil saying, Ur Kudi Iluthadan There. That means, a rath has to be pulled by the entire people of that particular town or even from outside also. A rath cannot be pulled by one person or two person. Running a company is also like that. It is like, everybody have to chip in and everybody have to, pull the organization, take it forward. So that's the way it is. So currently we are at 350 and we have been adding at least close to around 20% year on year. So if I have to put it in the numbers, last year we have added close to around 50 people, and this year also we would be adding about close to around 50 people. So industry is definitely growing. You know how the infrastructure business, the kind of roads, the kind of malls, the kind of buildings, bridges, and new airports, coffee, happenings are taking place. In a developing country, this is quite often, sometimes I tell my foreign friends, they say that, okay, when they land, here they say, I see a big difference in this place. I said, yes, this happens only in India. So last year when you came, this road would have not been there. This building would have not been there. Today you are landing in a new airport. Every year there is a big change which is happening in a developing country. So there is a lot of requirements are there for our equipments. And currently the Hailstone is growing more than 35 to 40% year on year growth, which is, normal in the industry. And we have been, from a low base, from 150 crore, 200 crore. So there is always a, ample space for us to grow. And we are also moving across the globe. It is not just focusing on India. And we are also moving into different verticals. We are getting into iron ore. We are getting into gypsum. We are getting into limestone. We are getting into dolomite. So everything needs to be crushed, everything needs to be processed, everything needs to be, so that's where there is a fantastic opportunity, and the market is definitely growing. We also have plans to set up additional facilities. Currently, we are looking for, places where we can set up our additional facilities. We are also having warehouses being opened in different places, so that there is a smooth supply of spare parts and service takes place, which is, the closest mile to the customer. So always there is, people requirement. And what you said is right. We also take lateral people because we also need experience. And average age of my company is only 30 years. So a very young team, what we have. So we also take senior people, maybe like me, there are senior people also being added in the organization. So that's kind of a, answer which I want to give to your question.
Okay, so you're looking at an average of about 50 odd people being added every year in the
Yes.
next 2 to 4 years, and probably in a 5-year horizon. And out of that, probably about 80% would be the fresh new entry level people, and probably 20% could be lateral and
So
contractual.
the ratio could slightly vary. It could be somewhere
Okay,
around 70-30 kind of.
okay,
The 70% would be, the fresh graduates, and we have already taken a lot of trainee from, management institutes and from engineering colleges. Of course, our product is a more engineered product, so we need more demand from the engineers, particularly the electrical, the electronics, the mechanical, the automation engineers. I think this is what is, the requirement. And
okay,
we are also adding people across the nation for the sales. So whoever is having a flair for the sales and who have already, having a good exposure into the construction industry or knowing the market well, depending on the places, depending on my dealer strength. So there, we vary in terms of, how to pick and choose our sales team.
okay. Two important points here. One is that you mentioned that the knowledge what we need is primarily people with engineering background, especially electrical, mechanical, and similar fields.
Yeah.
Because primarily because you're into that particular manufacturing of those type of equipment. Um, And when it comes to the front ending, which is the sales organization, there you're flexible in terms of the knowledge or the skill which is required. Are you comfortable or are you flexible in terms of taking non-engineers also for the sales organization?
Yeah, very much. We see that's what the flair for sales and the market reach and the customer knowledge or the territory knowledge. So these are all the or the crushing segments. The crushing zones are different. Even if we take one city, the crushing zone might be 100 kilometers away, where there could be a bunch of crushers available. So it all depends on if a person has the knowledge of that particular market, and
Hmm.
he has a good relationship with customer, so engineering qualification doesn't matter, and
Hmm.
the flair for the sales is more important. See, what we expect is basically you need to listen to the customers, you need to understand the customers, and you need to offer the solutions. So for that, you doesn't need to be an engineer. You can even any graduate, and we are already having many non-engineers in the sales.
Okay, fantastic. And in the core segment, which is the electronics, electrical, and mechanical, in that, are you very particular about any particular type of institutions from where you pick up, or you're open, flexible
No,
to
we are
receive?
open because what we look is, the attitude of the person is more important than the marks, number one. And we are also looking for the passion because, people don't want to come to the construction industry. First of all, they don't want to come into an engineering industry itself. That itself is less. People are, having a more choice towards IT. In fact, my infrastructure is like an IT infrastructure, which I want to point out to the, if somebody is, thinking the infrastructure is not like a, shed or anything. My infrastructure is as good as an IT infrastructure. Probably you also know it
Hmm.
that way. Yeah, when it comes to the production, yes, we need more of the mechanical engineers. And when it comes to design, also mechanical engineers, electrical, electronics, these are the what do you call streams which we are looking for.
Okay. You also mentioned that you have dealership networks.
Yeah.
I'm sure in the dealership network also you will be expanding. I mean, they themselves probably will also expand their business. So, do you have an estimate of what could be their growth also in the next 2 to 4 years?
See, dealers definitely need a minimum 2 to 3, salespersons. And we always believe a salesperson can look at couple of districts, not more than couple of districts, or couple of crushing zones, not more than that. So looking at, I think in India, we have close to around 550 or 550, 60 districts available. Even if the districts are increasing because many states are adding districts, even if we take it a rough figure of 600, there will be at least crushing zones will be somewhere around close to around 350 to 400 crushing zones will be available because every district will not have a crushing zones. Everywhere we need at least about 2 to 3 people. So if we divide that, there is enough number of sales persons required by my dealers also. And there also the qualification is not more important. It is he has to know the ground, he has to know the market, and he has to have a passion for serving the construction industry. Vision of the organization is we wanted to do the journey with the customer. So it's like a
Okay.
lifelong journey with the customer. It is not like one time say we wash our hands. First of all, we look what is the solution the customer wants, which product has a better price, which product has a better demand, how I can offer more returns on investment for him, how my operation cost can be reduced. So we look at a package of solutions in such a way that I will do a value journey with my customer for a long term.
Okay.
That's
O-
the vision and mission of the organization.
Okay. Right. So moving on, do you have any kind of internship program already in place, or are you
Yes.
planning something?
Yes, currently there is an internship which is going on both for engineering as well as management graduates. I think we have about close to about at least in my opinion around 20-25 people currently have joined and working.
Okay,
It includes both men and women.
okay. So they are primarily into the manufacturing, or they are also into other functional areas?
Normally, what we do is when we take the internships, we put them in the grinding for about 2 to 3 months with various departments. Then we look at their strength, particularly whether they have to go into a new product development, or they have to go in for sales, or they have to go for inside sales. There are enough divisions inside the organizations, and of course we discuss with the candidates on their interest and how they want to shape up the career. Based on that, we take the decisions and we put them across in the different streams.
Okay. So primarily these interns are basically who have just completed their education and they're joined, or they are in between their education like somebody in the third year or fourth year of education, and they've taken a break and they have joined as intern, or they've completed the education and joined as interns.
No, there are, to answer your question, there are two types. One, yes, we always look for the graduates who have completed fresh, of course, out of college. Even maybe the degree marks card would not available, but at least we know that, okay, they have passed out. So that's the kind of a set of people first we take for our main role. And there are interns who come and work for 1 month, as a project, or, they want the internship certificates, or they just want to learn. So this is another stream, but that's not for a job role.
Yeah, I understand that, but it is open, it is available.
Yes, it's available, and predominantly we take the graduates on direct jobs.
So moving on, I think our discussion should also talk about the role of AI and automation, which I think every organization will adopt more and more as we go along. So what are those kind of initiatives which are currently going on in your organization, and how do you see that impacting the future job roles?
See, AI, I would say in this industry is slightly far.
Okay.
Because this is the industry which is very rugged, which is operated by unskilled employees. It is in a corner of a place or inside a jungle kind of a place. So I'm talking of the end customers where the operations are there. So sometimes there might not be even signals not available. So AI is quite far in this particular industry, but automation is definitely there. We have already reached a level 2 automation. Now we are getting into level 3 automation, including completely the entire plant can be monitored and managed through a mobile or through a laptop. Communication protocols, all that is taken, and every machine can communicate with another machine. And most of the machines operate through variable frequency drives. So it has already reached a certain level of automation in our industry. But a full-fledged automation will take little longer time, because the humanless operation is not possible with the psychological mindset, because a big rock is being put inside a machine. Then it has various stages of process. So I don't think it'll happen in the near future. Maybe after 5 or 6 years, we can get into AI and complete automation. All that is possible.
Okay, but then you do see that, I mean, in about 5 to 7 years, more automation will happen in your
Absolutely,
operations.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
And already, our exports in many of the countries where we are giving the level 2 automation, which is the mandatory there. And we being a developing country, it will take some more time for us to reach out. There are the younger generations or the second generations who are buying the plant today. They want to do better than what their earlier generation or the previous plant what they have. They want to have all automation and monitoring and calculating and checking and everything, all that possible. So that's also happening.
Okay, so my objective asking that question was to get a sense of whether automation is going to displace some of your existing employees from their current functional roles. And if that is so, then what, from the organizational point of view, what kind of initiatives you're taking in terms of utilizing them into new or evolving functional areas? I mean, that was the whole objective of asking
Yeah,
that.
we do a lot of internal trainings.
Okay.
Internal trainings. We also bring in external faculties. We also bring in experts or knowledgeable people. So they work with them, they learn with them, and then we also, whenever we have a opportunity to visit different sites, different customer requirements, we always have a touch points with the customer to understand. Even yesterday I was in Mumbai. I was having a thought process how a plant can be automated, how a large plant can be discussed, so that this is what is happening today. And when we have the engineers, most of the engineers are homegrown engineers, so they adapt to the situations. They learn very quickly, and I told you my average age of my force is only 30 years. So it's very easy to adapt and move towards the new technologies.
Great. I think we have covered most of the points which we thought of discussing today. And so the top of the mind statement from this conversation is that Hailstone will continue to invest in people at least 50 to 60% every year, primarily in the engineering functional area, electrical, mechanical, and electronics related industry. And they will also be expanding their sales within India as well as outside India, through their own network as well as through their dealership network, which also will need a lot of sales people on the ground, very close to the pockets where there are crushing units and other industry where Hailstone will grow and enter into in the future. So that's a broad outline of this conversation, and hopefully this will help some of our young listeners to understand that there are opportunities other than IT and ITS also. And
Yeah.
I thank Mr. Muthu for sharing all his
I have a point which I want to tell. This is my personal, how an interview is being conducted is whenever a CV is being seen, always one way of looking at which I have been doing, and I have also seen many of the other leaders are doing, is how you have grown your marks from your 10th standard, your 12th standard, your graduation, your UG, your PG. So this is very, very important. So I tell all the young, graduates or students who are passing out, always try to maintain that there is a, career advancement, there is a growth. If you have taken 65% mark in 10th standard, then you try to go for 67 or 70 in the 12th standard in the graduation. But 75 to 80%, I see the reverse. So they have a 95% in the 10th standard, then, going down, they come to somewhere around 65% in their graduation, which is not a right sign. Okay. If there are, some reasons, somebody's health was not good or, family, I understand. And if that reason can be said as, mentioned that, that's one of the reason my graph is down, but my energy and my passion towards, growing. So this has to be spelled out if there is an, negative, but if there is a positive, show the trend, because this will definitely help. And second is in the interviews, what we look is, we look at the attitude of the person. and how much he will be suiting to an organization, suiting to the a particular organization, particular company, particular environment. I think that is more important. So if you see, most of the successful people in the life is how they have adapted to the situation. I think that's more important than their skill, their knowledge, or the number of marks what they have, or the number of degrees what they have. That's secondary. But how they have adapted to the situation, how they learn quickly. So this is what I want to sum up. I thought this would be a good message to the youngsters.
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. I think attitude matters a lot. Of course, the basic education is required. That's like the hygiene. But ultimately, what makes you different from others is your attitude. And you very well put it. And thanks for sharing the example about the graph. That's something which I think a lot of youngsters will listen to you and adapt and do well in their careers.
And we are here to help them out. And then even I'm spending after almost like a retirement is only to help the youngsters. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for sharing your insights.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed.